Phoenix is rising. Hey, hey, hey. Hopefully, I don't lose my mic. I'm moving around a little bit. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Tennille, and I am a life coach and NARC coach, transformational coach to be more specific. But I also help you with your goals. I help you transition from homelessness, from narcissistic relationships into your authentic self, into your purpose. Um, yeah, so let us get into prayer. I will recite Psalms 23 and 91. First is 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever, or the Most High God forever. Amen. And Ashe and Asheo. Psalms 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, she is my refuge and my fortress, my goddess. In her shall I trust. Surely she shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. She shall cover thee with her feathers, and under her wings shalt thou trust. Her truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For she shall give her angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and shew him my salvation. Amen. And Ashe. One thing that I love, and yes, I did say she and I did say goddess. And the only reason why I did is because I got instruction that most of the Psalms come from the Hosea. I will find it in my PDFs and screen capture it and put it in my community tab on here on YouTube and on my TikTok too, so you guys can know. Because when I first read the Hosea, um, I realized all the proverbs were in there, the Psalms were in there. That, I mean, this is their origination, right? And not to cause any discord or division or derision between any of us. It's all about faith. It's all about connecting to spirit. It's all about connecting to the Most High God. And in order to do that, you have to follow 4 simple steps that cause you to go deep. To the level that you want to be authentic is how deep you are going to go when I take you through the 4 steps: reveal, heal, grow, and show. So I said it because that's how I say it, the way that it's written, but it is actually uh, a song of worship to Aset. Please think about that. And this, I didn't want to say it this other way, but the Most High God kept, saying, hey, boom, 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 look, this is it. And kind of put it on my mind screen, this dialogue. And I was like, oh, yes, 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 yes. Because when you think about the pieces of Asar being gone, da, da, da. And of course, it's cosmology. So anyway, I am not a cosmologist. I'm not a astro whatever. astrologist. I'm not any of that. But so I'm just getting downloads. And so to be more efficient and authentic, um, ironically, yeah, so that's what it is. So anyway, our topic is toxic tether or tractor beams. And somebody had made a comment on one of my nugget shorts that they wanted to know more about the cluster B tractor beam because they may have been going through it. And this is a AI generated uh, Leonardo from Leonardo AI generated image. And so I just put in a prompt and said, two minds tethered, psychically tethered minds. Um, because I had a tractor beam like from space Star Wars, Star Trek. So in the little nugget. So go listen to that if you guys haven't already. And in that, it was a quick snippet while I was at work, just getting some downloads, and which I love it because God's the one's like, hey, just make it little nuggets. These are little spiritual nuggets that I'm giving you while you're working, putting two and two together, on autopilot because I'm standing. Sitting there numb. So anyway, so it was requested by Sammy. Thank you, Sammy, and for showing an interest. I really appreciate that. Please, you guys, let me know if any of these topics that I'm talking about are resonating with you. Please share your experiences. I love it. I need it because I need to learn how to know and learn exactly how more to efficiently and effectively affect you. I am a doer. Okay. So I am a healer. I am a doer. I don't like to do a lot of talking, but when I do a lot of talking, it's because it comes from somewhere deep. So I need to know, and I know that with me, a lot of people, all my life, people don't really comment because and I'm just my authentic self, right? We're always told that especially if we're black, and especially if we're black women, we're always told that we're being, that we're being arrogant or that we are narcissists for, you know, seeing the situation for what it is and verbalizing it. So as I was growing up, in time when I would speak, it was more intense back then because I wasn't clouded, right? When we're first coming into this world, we're coming in fresh batteries, right? And especially because the matrix has from 0 to 5, you kind of coddle, from 5 to 6 to 10, you do such and such, right? So there's always these steps that the matrix has to condition and brainwash us. And so when you think about that, we're love bombed, right? Some of us from the very beginning. But I'm not going to go into that. But basically, when I would speak, it would be this adrenaline thing. So, okay, I got to say this, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. It would rush up from my sacral on up to my heart through to my vishuddhi or throat chakra, and in hindsight, and I would speak, and when I would speak, people would listen and they would just be blown away, right? Because and I see when we are who we are and we're living from our authenticity, it's all that we know. We're not trying to be arrogant. We're not trying to be famous or anything like that. It's just, I've been told to speak, and so I'm speaking, right? And so at my age, this old soul stuff, at my age at the time, people were like baffled, like, oh my God, like that came from you, right? But I didn't think about that stuff. It's like when people, when I came out, quote unquote, as lesbian, a lover of women, you know at the time, now I'm just like no label. But if I have to say something, I would be a transformer. That's my trans, but it's a different from you know what I mean. So I don't really use that a lot, to describe myself. But anyway, people would just kind of, um, be dumbfounded. Some would be dumbfounded. Some would be just like you just said it. And I think that's it. It's just I have a way of somebody told me you have a way of just shutting conversations down. Like boom, that's it. I've said what I said. you know. but so but I'm not trying to do that now. I'd really desire to have a community where we all can talk about these things because okay, let's just get to it. So again, I'm a life coach, transformational coach, narc coach, goal coach, happiness coach. Haven't gotten there yet. So, but completely at least. And my target clients are Black, lesbian, and trans women who are 30 to 50 years old and who are ready to have me take them through either individually or in a group setting through the 4 steps to your authentic self. And again, let's reveal, heal, grow, and show. And I'll put it in the ticker as we go along in this discussion podcast right now. What that means. Okay. Also, as you can see in the ticker, I am opening on Fiverr for people to be able to book a 65-minute session. Yes, a 65-minute session for $90. And as you guys know, on Fiverr, there's different ones. So you got different tiers. So that's one tier, and that's the middle tier. And that's going to be like whether you want to work on goals, work on a specific problem, uh, or there's going to be another tier for $50 for 45 minutes and just to, kind of get things off your chest, you know? Because a lot of people, yeah, hey, I just want to, because I'm like this. That's why I do this. Get it off my chest kind of thing, right? So I'm offering a 45-minute session for $50 to get whatever it is you need to off your chest with respect. Because I'm not your garbage can. I'm also not your mammy you know um but if you just need somebody to talk to about the witchcraft that's been done on you, you need somebody to talk to about how you feel like you've lost yourself after narcissistic abuse and after being in a toxic abusive relationships, and how can I change patterns, I'm that one. Okay, that'll be for what the get it off your chest is going to be. And again, that's 45 minutes for $50. Okay. And then the second tier, if on Fiverr, this is all going to be on Fiverr, and I may post it tomorrow because it's midnight now. So, and so the second tier is a 65-minute session for $90. And this one is more, hey, I want to go through those 4 steps, and maybe you want to work with me on the first one, right? And then, book another session to work on how to heal it, right? And so you'll still have printouts and whatnot, but it's just by session. If you want to do it, I think I may do it like, okay, this session we're going to go here, this session we're going to go there, and I'll do it as a package is what I'll do actually. But yeah, so that way you can get a bit of a discount, instead of 4, because 4 times 90 is what, so I can give you guys a discount if you want to just do the reveal heal thing. I do have on Fiverr as well the from sealed to healed group. Like if you want to join it as a group and you want to do the 8-week program, okay, gives you more time instead of just 65 minutes. You have the whole you have the whole 8 weeks, and it's a 2-part program. So the first one will be evaluating and relearning what cluster B personalities are, what their tactics you know, how they are. I mean, you've gotten a lot from, if you guys are loyal listeners, and you get, you know, you've been listening to my podcast discussions, you've gotten a lot. I mean, especially from the first, those playlists are still up, you know. I've evolved, I've had to, because I did. It's like, okay, wait a minute. You know, when you first start and you're like, oh, okay, I'm so passionate about this, but uh, you know, some mentors don't, or say, hey, you know, well, this is how we do it. And it's like, I can't do it like that. I have to be authentic, and I have to be true to my target client, which is other Black lesbians and trans women 30 to 50 who are struggling because they don't have a space, you know. And it's a blessing, because I've been talking a lot, you know, with my job. This is, it's a love hate kind of thing, because I get to meet people, but as an empath, it's very traumatizing sometimes. You know what I mean? It's exhausting. I'm grateful that I have skills, and I'm grateful that I have mantra. And that's something else I'll be offering on Fiverr, is the basics, the BG seed sounds for mantra, to get you guys started, and then we'll go up from there, clearing chakra, and you know, protection mantra. Um, you know, for, because I think that the Black community exists, it does not interfere with your Christian religion or spirituality. It does not, right? Everything comes from melanated people, whether they were melanated Indians from, you know, India, uh, uh, you know, Pakistan, or everything is, you know, um, from melanated. So you're not betraying. It doesn't all. And actually, what it did for me was enhance, because I still say the Lord's Prayer. And actually, you know, and Psalms, and Psalms has been my favorite book, as well as the Proverbs. You know, it's just now, some people think that if you know how a burger's made at Jack in the Box or Burger King, then you won't want it. You don't want it anymore. If you know the game of basketball and how it's played, and you know the behind the scenes, and you know, then you don't. It makes it uninteresting, but it doesn't. It enhances you, right? It enhances you, because you think about Asar and Aset, you know, and Seth and Heru. You think about that story, and basically that is the fragments of, that's the Tower of Babel. That's the fragments of what was whole being broken, so that people could buy and sell to get likes and subscribes and shares, right? So anyway, hopefully that's it. I've said what I've said. So we're going to go into these topics. What is a toxic tether, or a tractor beam? So a toxic cord, a toxic tether that somebody attaches to you, is a psychic cord. It's an energetic etheric cord, okay, that they're attaching to you, so that they can still stay connected to you in some way, shape, or form. And before I did this, you know, started this topic, I want to play this for you guys real quick. Very simple. They abduct someone, they bring him to death very slowly, and the moment his last breath, his essence, leaves the body, they replace it with another. Several moments later, that body will rise off the table. It'll be the same physical body, but inside it has a completely different agenda, because now it's a different soul. Mm-hmm. That technology does exist. Would you call that on? Yes, I would. Would they have the memory of the original body? Yes, they do. But my understanding is that there's anywhere from 3 to 7 months where there is a transition period. And generally, when it happens to a major figure, they will be out of the line. Okay, so I wanted to play that little snippet, because I wanted you guys to get a little bit, a lot out of it, just to show that there's other people discussing this. And this was done like in 1980s, 90s, all right, that they're talking about body swapping. So when a cluster B personality attaches itself to you, They're attaching to your authentic self. They're attaching to your soul. They're attaching to your purpose. They're attaching to your Akashic records. They're attaching to your organs. They're attaching to everything that is you, right? So when, even if you, like with me, I still have this stalker who is more of a spiritual stalker than she is, or it is, a physical in-person stalker, because the human and the demon don't want to lose the ship, which is our fleshly body made for this world, right? Because I'm not, it's on site. So so they do a lot of uh astral traveling, remote viewing. Okay, all you got to do is look this up. The Russians have studied it, America has studied it, Germany has studied it, Japanese have studied it, Chinese have studied it, right? They've come up, I mean, like this is a huge thing, which is why we're now in this techno, this hyper kind of like the Star Trek age. So you can't go into this, oh, it's the age of Aquarius, it's all this informational age and nothing, we're going to be healing. No, you're not. That's not what this is for. This is to isolate you and control your spirit, because the whole point was to be God. When you're dealing with a cluster B personality, they want you to honor and worship them. And most of the time they haven't earned it, right? So another thing with cluster B personalities, not only do they want to literally snatch your soul, well, and not another thing, but here's a tactic. Here's something you need to be aware of. Be aware when somebody doesn't listen to you when you're telling them about yourself. That's a huge red flag for me, because I get people who I've always had, not always, because we have gone through seasons in the matrix when, okay, we're ready to push this out, right? Like when you're doing we're going to soft launch this, right? When you have a business and you have a brand, you want to launch, you want to tell everybody your launch date, your grand opening, right? And that's kind of like the matrix. The matrix has gone through these different types of launches. Like we're going to explore this, and then we're going to explore that. After about 3-5 years, we're going to do this, and then we're going to kind of cross dissolve 10 different ones. You know what I mean? So that's what we've been dealing with. So it's just a step by step. So it's kind of like this grooming. We have been through generation groomed to accept that AI can artificially create babies, right? So anyway, think of the tactic the sign, a red flag for you for cluster B personalities should be when they don't want to hear what you have to say. They just want you to sit there and shut up. Out of sight, out of mind, right? When you start talking about yourself and you feel as if the person isn't listening, because they're not. And they may look over to oh, girl, I'm sorry, but you see that person over there? Yeah, because they're collecting data on another target. It's not by accident, right? And these guys, let's just say you're dressed up a robot, right? And you see with the Japanese, they have these lifelike dolls, right? Some of them are used for good, or some of them are used for entertainment. But I'm a Japanese animation fan, and most of the animations or the genres that I like are mecha, I believe. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Or the psychological thrillers, oh god, I think it's mecha, or just they have so mmany different titles. It's not just a slice of life kind of stuff, but it's the supernatural, things like that, because they do it. Because they study, right? So I know that I'm getting a lecture in the animation, because everything is just really real. So anyway, so just picture that with the cluster B personality. They no longer like the host body that they're in, so they're trying to swap. And that's why I put movie Get Out at the bottom of the topics, because that's what Get Out was talking about. That's what that man that you just heard the recording. If you didn't, rewind this and go back to it, and hopefully you guys heard it, because I can't tell if you heard it or not, but it was right up on my microphone. But that's what Get Out was about, because that is something that is really happening, right? So as you see in this picture, you have all these tentacles and, and stuck and, but you got one guy feeding off another, siphoning this other's life force, because he's gone gray and dull. So the tractor beam is always that tether, is that etheric cord that are connecting to you. Now they're gonna make you think that it's a soulmate, twin flame kind of thing, and it's not. But you catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar, right? That's why these cluster B personalities are hard to detect. My sister, the golden child, who basically unalived our mother for insurance. And I didn't grow up with him. I didn't have a say. And this creature still acts like I do not exist. Right? I don't exist to her. Why? Because I'm a threat. She knows that I know what she did. And I can't prove it, but the Most High God can. Right? So the tractor beam, like in Star Trek, is meant to keep tabs on you. It's another way of saying monitoring spirit, right? Because these guys fragment themselves. You can have people haunt you who are alive. Haven't you ever felt like when you've gotten out of a relationship with one of these toxic pieces of poo-poo that there's something around you? Either they're doing witchcraft or they're sending. I had one woman who was sending by doing incantations, sending demons to me, because some, Mexican witch had given her something, had given her in old, ancient things to chant incantations. And I caught her doing it one time because I'd cut her off, and when I cut this woman off was when my life started getting better, was when I got a security guard job. And she tried to take credit from it, and she tried to tell people, slander me, and tell people that, oh yeah, she used me, and she did. How can I use somebody when I'm on the streets? I didn't use her for housing. I didn't use her to buy food. I didn't use her for any of that. Nothing. And as a matter of fact, when, because every cluster B personality is different. We have to accept that. Every cluster B personality is different. And depending on, their environment, their upbringing, what they have access to, what their niche, quote unquote, is, right, is how they're going to respond. But they're still using the same template. Right? When you go to a template, we're using it for what? The same thing. We're using it for the same type of business, right? If I go to Square, it has this, okay, well, here, use this template. PayPal, beautiful template. And keeps track of it forever, right? I'm putting different things in there, but it's the same template. So a tractor beam is when people, when are having a cord. My spiritual mom used to tell me to pray against having toxic tethers, is what she called them, toxic tethers. And she said cords. They're cords that people attach to you. They'll attach it to your brain. They'll attach it to your amygdala. They'll attach it to your spine, right? Because they see it as a portal to get into your body. When they're in your body, not just your energy, they've gone through your light body. They've gone, you know what I mean? You got like three, four different bodies. And I kind of think that there's more than that. But as I've experienced, they will go through they're tethering and getting, attaching themselves, fragmenting themselves, a piece of themselves, sending them on as a monitoring spirit. They are the monitoring spirit, right? Some may do the witchcraft, like I said, and do an incantation or whatever because they don't know how to fragment their consciousness. And really, it's like it's cloning. It's spiritual cloning. I'm going to clone a piece of myself in the astral realm to watch you as I go about my business, but I'm getting downloads, I'm getting information on what you're doing, right? That's the reason why they wait until you're asleep, is so then they can, kind of review, right? And I know, as weird as this stuff sounds, you guys, if you guys like sci-fi, you're willing to believe that aliens are coming out of, different planets and new worlds and stuff like this, but you're not willing to believe that it's actually really happening in this realm in 3D. A lot of people talk about 5D and 12D and all this other kind of stuff. And I believe that that's just how you're vibrating to be able to see into the different realms. I can see my spiritual gifts are being able to see my attackers and what they're doing, not just feel it, right? I have this succubus, I've told you guys, talked to you guys about her, and these guys, one thing is when these guys keep losing, again, being cluster B personalities, they can't stop until they win. Like the woman who accused me and told everybody that I had used her, and everybody knew that she was lying because everybody knew me as a giver. That's why they were siphoning and trying to vampirize me. Right. But when I stopped being a people pleaser, and as I grew when I was on the streets, as I grew in those things that I was afraid to look at, and those things, people that I was afraid to confront. Right. I remember, I don't know, I think I talked about this in one of my podcast discussions. You guys are going to have to go look. But the fact that as a Black woman and a Black lesbian, growing up being accosted and threatened and bullied, with being essayed, by Black men because I was not, to them, it wasn't bisexual, that like it was, bisexuality was okay because then they can participate, right? Or anytime you tell a Black man no, a toxic Black male no, then they want to throw a temper tantrum that normally gets physical, right? So I confronted all that because I needed to. I needed to be stronger. Right? And that was a part of breaking generational curses. How many times had my mother, my grandmother, her mother, right, not been too afraid of getting a beating from a Black male, like in The Color Purple, flight, freeze, or fawn. And so it's me breaking that, right? But the cluster B personalities need to have an excuse to hurt you and to keep hurting you, because people are going to question, okay, well, it's been 2-3 years, dude, like, get over it. But they don't know how. It's almost as if it's Groundhog Day for them, and they'll keep doing the same things over and over and over and over again, hoping to go further every single time. And let's say you're doing Groundhog Day, everything's the same, but then one element changes. Okay, that gives them hope. And then they'll repeat it and then do whatever it was that they did to get that one difference, in the hopes that, okay, now maybe this will push me further, right? but they need information, right? Because the whole thing is to get inside your head, to get inside your body, to become you in a sense. And that's why people who they don't want to do the work themselves. I tell you guys this. I was suspended from my job Friday because of false accusations. And remember, I just said cluster B personalities need a reason to traumatize you, or else they'll look suspicious just doing it because they don't like you when you're actually a likable person. Okay? And I knew that this was coming. I just was going, I knew that it was coming, but they were trying to hide it so well, right? So when one happened, then the other happened. And I said, oh gosh, okay. And I think there's times where we're tired, right? And on top of being tired, it's like I was tired of that environment in the first place. Let me put it that way. I was tired of being around drug addicts. I mean, in one day there was 4 overdoses, which meant that these guys had died and had to be revived with Narcan. Right? But so that was taking its toll on me, being the healer and the leader and the teacher that I am, and not being able to help anybody, because if I did, they would, there was like, hey, they'll devour you. But I know who I am. They're not going to devour me. But it was hard seeing, because I'm in the world, but I'm not of it. But I have to give to Caesar what is Caesar's. Right? So, but I knew what was coming, because and I've accepted it, and which is why I'm offering my services, to do some coaching sessions with anybody who's willing to, who's ready. Really, I mean, if you're ready to get it on, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's happening, you guys. And if you haven't seen the pattern in your own life, and if you're not willing to change it, you're going to keep falling for the okie doke. If you haven't realized, we live in a narcissistic cluster B country. So if you can't recognize it in your own personal world, then how are you going to grow and then expand and start to recognize it like I do out in the world when you're socializing? This is what I was missing. This is why, I mean, there's so many reasons, why my growth was being retarded, was because I was still that little child, that little 5-year-old who had been beaten, starved, and essayed for 8 years, and came out with nobody talking to me about what a narcissist was, or a cluster B personality, or anything like that. Especially because I was Black and female. Oh, you're so strong, right? Because if I'm strong, then I don't get to grieve. I don't get to say anything. Oh my gosh, you're so intelligent for your race and age. You're so mature. I was thinking about that today too, or not today, but just this last weekend. And just how we are constantly pushed, manipulated out of being healthy, doing self-care, right? To having a coaching session as part of self-care, right? And a lot of times we don't, I mean, I just actually, coaches need counselors, right? I just looked up, because now for me personally, I got insurance, and finally, and now I'm like, oh, okay, let me go and get somebody to talk to about what I've dealt with for the last 15 years. And yes, it's frustrating because you're not always going to get the right one. You have to kind of scroll through, and that gets tiring, and you're like, well, I can better do bad all by myself. But there's some things that you can't do alone and heal alone. Sometimes you need somebody. I desire to have somebody, that I can talk to, that I can trust, that's on my level, that's familiar with the subject matter, right? I need somebody who's familiar with maybe not witchcraft, but is familiar with how toxic and diabolical and demonic cluster B personalities are, right? So the how to unlink is basically you can use mantra, because I do it, but just know that you may get some person who goes into a psychosis because these guys in their ego are really big, right? And when what do we know about the cluster Bs and their throwing temper tantrums when they don't get their way, when when they think that they're being smooth and you keep blocking them, right? Then they throw a temper tantrum because they can't take that they're losing. It wasn't a competition. Your life is not a toy. Your life is not a game. But to an infantile 3 to 7 year old minded mentality, uh, cluster B personality who has nothing else to do, who hates other people's happiness and doesn't want to work towards their own. They're fine festering in their own astral feces. They're fine with it. But misery loves company. So they're going to do jar spells. They're going to do funeral spells. They're going to, take an effigy of you and put it in the grave. And they're going to, collect whatever on social media, of you and keep doing it over and over and over and over again. Why? Because these guys are whack. They're used to getting whatever they want by bobbing and weaving in and out of social norms. So the way that you disconnect is you raise your vibration. You get into prayer, right? So when we're always taught, I know in the Christian religion, it's always taught, praise destroys the enemy. And one of my favorite, I can't, and oh, pardon me, because I just went through attack. Most of you guys don't know. Oh, Fred Hammond, that's what it is. So recently was last weekend, not this last weekend, but the weekend before that, my stalker tried to unalive me. So it triggers a physical psychosomatic response. And another thing, just to sidetrack, another thing that I thought of is like, what, pat yourself on the back because you are a warrior. You are a general. Many of us are generals in this angelic earth army, earth angel army, because we have gone through stuff. Like I can't talk to unspiritual people. I can't talk to spirit deniers about what I'm talking to you phoenixes about now, right? Because you can't talk to spiritual people. You can talk to spiritual people, but you can't talk to people who are, because there's a lot of people who are in the church saying, so praise will confuse the enemy. And as I've mentioned, I went from intermittent fasting to starvation because the war was getting so thick, because this person and had gotten a lot of people together and they all wanted my energy because I had elevated spiritually, and they could tell, and they were afraid of it. But because they had been doing this for years, they thought they kept with this sense of entitlement. So one day, I was just sitting there in the hotel in Sacramento, and I just started praising. I was like, God, thank you. I'm so grateful. Thank you for getting us out of this. Thank you for giving me the strength. Thank you for giving me the wisdom. Thank you for making sure that we have food every day. Thank you that they didn't succeed in killing prosperity. Thank you that there, for bringing recompense and justice to Lala and Brittany Elizabeth Adams and Egypt, and these are the babies that I lost. Thank you for bringing justice to my mother. Thank you for opening my eyes. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for enhancing and increasing and deepening my spirit of discernment. I just give you glory. I just give you honor. I just give you praise. And as I was doing that, whatever was attached to me, literally, I saw it come off from my back and go straight up. Now, it wasn't going straight up to God. It was a black thing. And that was Ogre. I've talked to you guys about her, or it now. That's the problem when you put yourself in through a psychosis. But I was given, so, it's a praise on the inside that I just can't keep to myself. Right? So when we're doing that, that's how you unlink, because they don't know how to process. It's weird. I had it one day and I forgot to record, what I'd gotten, but their brains don't work right. Right? Brain doesn't work right. They got too many demon clusters that they're housing. Their body is a trap house for demons. Okay? So when we praise, they can't feed off of it. What I saw, thank you, Mama. What I saw in the spiritual realm was a light. Because when God said go, you got to go, was preparing us to leave. And when we got here, gosh, it was a whole new world. Like, my body wasn't heavy. I didn't feel like the person, the cluster B personality, the demon that was attaching a tractor beam to me and trying to be me, because her body she's 500 pounds, right? Think about 5'8", 5'9", 500 pounds, almost 500 pounds. She's big. She's huge. Okay. And this is the person that's astral projecting to me. This is the person who's trying to link. Like, I watched her do psychic surgery at a time I was on the train going to the job site at a construction site. And on the way, she would always come with me. So this is, again, I'm all the clairs. I can feel, I can see, I can hear, and I remember hearing, her laughing and watching her in the spiritual realm, literally just, sit there and attach something to me, to my brain, to the right side of my brain. Now, when I clear my Vishuddhi chakra, my throat chakra, which you speak, right? Your thyroid also, right? This person has tampered with my thyroid so that I would gain weight exponentially, just like literally overnight. We had been here at our new place for about 2-3 months. Everything was fine. We were getting back into it. We felt we were back in our rhythm. And I remember I saw this white light and God coming, and whatever because what she was doing, she was trying to kind of patch herself into my body in the astral realm. So whatever I received is hers, except, all this stuff. And so when I was praising and I was giving thanks and I was crying, because we had just been through 12 years, 15 years total, but 12 years in Sacramento of hell, like literal hell of people trying to kill you. So when you put that in perspective, right, that it's not just something, I try and use examples that you guys can visualize and understand, right? Because when you got somebody that literally wants to be you, she literally wants to be somebody else. And she's been popping herself into other people's bodies because she doesn't want to have to talk, because she thinks that she's above all that, right? Imagine somebody just drags you into their home, confines you to a room, and you sing when they want you to sing. You have intercourse when they want you to have intercourse. You see, but they don't want to talk to you. That's how this creature is. Right? And so how you unlink is you get into prayer. How you unlink is you chant mantra that removes it. It does not mean that it will get rid of them completely. You can fast. You can continue to say the Psalms. Everything works. Do never think that just because you're still under attack that it doesn't work. It does. What these people is kind of like when you get rid of some cockroaches and you spray down some Raid, but then they start to the next generation or that next evolution in them, they start to grow to build a resistance towards it, right? Like I was starving myself, and to get that clarity, to get tap out of my own body and send all of that stuff back, because it's not mine. This is my empire. I am royalty. I'm chosen. I've done nothing to you. I could see it if I did something and then spiritually offended you, but I did not. That's just like my job when they suspended me. They couldn't come up with a reason to suspend me. They just didn't want me there. When your job tells you not to come back, they say make up some stuff, and then they say, okay, we're gonna call you at this time. Nobody calls you. Actually, the person who said that they were gonna call me is on vacation. Right? So what? So they have to come up with a reason to traumatize you. My former job came up with a reason to traumatize me. This company has been, before I even came to officially work for them, they were traumatizing me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the first time. This is the third or fourth time, I believe. And it's the last. It is absolutely the last. Right. And so I recognize it as a narcissist, whatever kind of environment. That's where I'm at, and that's what happened. But when you stop, when you willingly unlink and get out from under the narrative, the storyline that they're trying to create with you, through tethering themselves to you and trying to puppeteer you or dog walk you, right? Through subliminal suggestions or setting up little street theater, right? Which is what happened with me, but I didn't bite all the way. They said, oh, you cussed this person out. Then they said, oh, well, this is the person that you cussed out. There's supposed to be an investigation. Nobody's investigating anything. Because I called the guy Friday and he said, oh, well, I'm waiting back to, for an investigation. You can call Tom. Right? So that's to make you more subservient. That's to punish you for being you. That's to punish you for fighting them. Right? And when you've done it for, this person is 65 years old trying to pawn herself off as being in her 40s. Just because you dye your hair jet black doesn't mean that I mean, the stark white and the stinking and the you look like you're in your 60s, dude. But that's how you see, that's that grandiose of self. That's the delusions. Their delusions of themselves keep them thinking that they can win against us. So how you unlink is by doing prayer, is by fasting, is by through mantra, right? Is through heightening your vibrations and keeping contact with the Most High God. That's how you unlink. Does not mean, again, that they will not come back and be persistent, right? And it gets exhausting. Like, this person has been doing this. I've been having to deal with it as I'm, trying to work. I've had I've had her sabotage. I actually saw her come down. So come down to where I'm at. Like, how did you even know where I'm at? You know what I mean? And that was scary. That was very scary, but hopefully you're not dealing with what I'm dealing with, right? And so you unlink through prayer, fasting, and raising your vibration, having a spiritual practice and making decrees, right? You make a decree that nobody shall enter into your territory. Your body is territory. Your body is a house, right? Your body is your property. It is your land. It is your empire. And I know that it may not, be feasible to some of you, but you got to let them know you're not allowed in here. You do not have the right. I have to say out loud, I don't care anymore. I'll say if you, because I usually have, when I go leave for work or go leave to do anything, I have this entity that attaches itself to me, and I can feel it. It's like I've seen it. It's a bone. It's like a hook, like the Grim Reaper, right? So I've seen this bone, this finger bone that attaches to me, and then hangs on. So it hurts. It hurts my shoulder. It's always on my right, and I've had to tell it. I don't know who the hell you think you are, but you need to go back to whoever conjured you because you don't have no rights here. That thing that conjured you is in debt to me in my bloodline. So you better ask somebody before you get hemmed up. And then usually I'll feel it dissipate. Right? So so you have to it's I mean, I know this the spiritual warfare, man, you guys are telling you. Oh, it is no joke. I just went to the store, got me some fruit stuff. But it's not a game. It's not a game. And just so if you want to call yourself an earth angel, and but you may be a dormant earth angel, because I know I've been attacked by city. you know I've had armies after me. I mean, which ends up resulting in an army, because with technology, it's not because I am a badass. Of course I am. But when you have technology and you have things like Tor and the underground webs and stuff, and like I saw on TikTok, a lady was telling me, or not me, but sharing with everybody that, hey, I am being gang stalked, but it's a group of, so she basically had an investigator go after these guys and said, hey, these guys are going on the dark web, and they're having people join them, which proves my point. So everybody who keeps telling you that you're crazy about being gang stalked or whatever, this woman said it. She said, I have had a private investigator and the police who have gone online and found these people, but there's not much that they can do, right? They said I found these. They found these people, and what this guy did was say that she, rejected him or did whatever, right? Um, and so they all started harassing and gaslighting her using those tactics. You know, so it's real stuff, but we're troopers in going through this. But so you got to recognize the tactics before you can you can defeat it. You have to believe, you have to allow the Most High God, like I did. You have to allow the Most High God to reveal to you what is actually happening. You have to be silent and open your heart up and open your mind up to that something being different. And I know, because it's hard. I tell you what, because every time I get up, I notice that I'm sabotaged. Every time I say, okay, I'm going to do this program, let's go, let's launch. And suddenly I'm facing homelessness again, right? Just out of the blue. And so, you know, um, so the warfare is real, and it's exhausting not having a social life outside of warfare. It's exhausting having somebody this thing that's not even human anymore, that keeps trying to attach itself to you, right? Or you telling people that you've done something to it when you're nowhere near it, you know? But as long as you stay on your path, see, the thing that I have learned and that I have done in my journey, and I continue to do, is to stay focused, is to stay prayed up, If I need to cry, I'm going to cry, right? If I need to laugh, I'm going to watch something that makes me laugh, right? It's not that I'm not facing homelessness. It's that I just have faith in God, because, when you have a relationship with the Most High God knows exactly what you've been through, knows exactly what you've done, knows exactly, that you are exhausted, right? So, because my prayer this after this Friday, because God had already told me. God, I mean, this was I think I've been working at this new site that I had to be relocated to, right? After the first um experience with literal workplace mobbing and them threatening to shoot me and stuff like this. And I actually got a warning from the head demon over there, who said it's going to be the same thing. So I thought, okay, let me do something different. I'm not going to play into this. I'm just going to do my work, do whatever, do whatever, do whatever. But and again, there is a demon that likes to attach itself, to other people. Again, the tether or the tractor beam is attaching to people's vulnerabilities, to people's fears, and exploiting it, to people's prejudices and exploiting it, right? That's why people say, oh, you don't like Mexicans. No, Mexicans, people have been the ones who have been attacking me and doing the gang stalking, right? And that's what I'm experiencing. I'm not going to lie about it, right? Because it seems not politically correct. I'm not going to do that. I didn't create the term politically correct, nor am I going to use it. Because when it came out, it was used to silence people. It's another form of gaslighting. So you can't really talk about everything that you're going through. You can't paint the full picture. You have to let it go, right? You can only say what they want to hear, which is whatever is not incriminating. So yeah, they attach to anything to exploit you. And I've said before, the cluster B cocktail is sociopathy. Sociopaths like to keep trophies, number one, whether they be spiritual or physical trophies. Sociopaths are creatures of habits. They will do the same things over and over and over again. They're kind of like OCD, right? So then you got the psychopath, then you got the histrionic, you have the borderline personality, you have the bipolar, you have the narcissist, of course, you have, which we've already talked about that, but we have you have the antisocial, right? You have this whole cocktail of character disturbances in one person. And people are wondering, well, how can I deal with it? Right? So you have these things that are attaching to you because they feel like they can't lose. So that's what I'm saying. Their brains are much different. I feel I had this thing, just to say, the tractor beam. So anytime I get happy, or when my digestive system was starting to heal, right? And I was feeling it healing, and I'm like, okay, this is good. I'm doing more walking at my work, right? Because I can walk through the parking lot garage, the 6 floors. I can go up them 3 times, to start all throughout the day. Right. And I noticed as soon as I started feeling better, as I was talking to some coworkers, making friends, right, getting to know people, starting to be social, right? And that's what upsets the cluster B. So and that's why they put this tractor beam, this toxic tether or cord that's attached to you. It's usually going to be attached to one of your portal, whether that be the spine, your chakra. Basically, mine come in, and you got chakras in your legs, all in your lower part. If you go and study, they're called something, and I haven't studied it completely, but and that's why I do mantra, because mantras cover your whole entire body, including organs. So I've had, these uh, vampires, body snatchers, try and well, not try, but come through, and punch. Right, when they're imagining in the flesh so hard to try and take the person out, their target out, right? This behemoth, this Jabba the Hutt lady, is punching pillows, but what she sees is hitting me, And I've seen her when I lived with her, I saw her doing it. Like, and she wanted somebody, if she's crazy, I didn't process it then. I wasn't able to process it because I was on the streets. So, my own brain was like, hey, I can't do all this right now. Go on, Nubian. I can't do all this. I can't process. I got to focus, right? But now that I've had some time, it's like, wow, she is really crazy. Like, there's no, like, nuts. Why would you follow somebody and stalk them? Why would you try and, you know what I mean? So obviously she couldn't get away with it over there. And I had somebody because of the distance, right? So the thing is to get distance between you and the cluster B personality. Go quietly. You don't need to tell them, hey, you're this and that, and I'm getting the hell away from you. You don't need to say shit. They already know what the hell they are. They already know. And they don't care. Right? So, and the movie Get Out, that was people using white people, liberals, quote unquote, using black people, their bodies. So when they would be, and the guy just said it, go back. The guy just said it. He said near death. And that's what Get Out. Oh God, I'm making that connection too. Let's play it again. His essence leaves the body, they replace, and the process is actually very simple. They abduct someone, they bring him to death very slowly, and the moment his last breath, his essence leaves the body, they replace it with another. Several moments later, that person, that body will rise off the table. It'll be the same physical body, but inside it has a completely different agenda because now it's a different soul. That technology does exist.
Would you call that a woman?
Yes, I would.
Would they have the memory of the original body?
Yes, they do. But my understanding is that there's anywhere from 3 to 7 months where there is a transition period. And generally when it happens to a major figure, they will be out of the limelight or be very rarely seen. Okay, when that happens, because they're still adjusting. Now, let's talk about that some more. The word is, what some people have said is, I saw them turn into a reptilian. I actually saw the reptilian. Now, that's probably very true. Okay. I don't know where he's going with that, but the fact that he already said that there's a way to do soul transfers, and I'm saying this because on my birthday 2022, I had this same person doing a ritual. That she did some type of ritual and attacked me. And again, sometimes you don't get to process everything at once. But what was revealed to me this last weekend was that she was trying to stuff herself basically in my body. She was trying to kill me through a heart attack and stuff, herself in my body. This is a 500-pound creature that literally projects all of herself into somebody else's etheric body, right? Not in your physical body. She's just merging her spirit, her etheric body with your physical body. And so what I started feeling were the pains that she was having. She's having digestive problems. She drinks too much, so she's having liver problems. She has one of them that does this too, has heart problems. And so when you start to understand the occult and esoteric, the spiritual part of this, when you expand your mind outside of the boundaries of just cluster B, you start to get a fuller picture of who cluster B personalities are from a spiritual perspective. And therefore you realize that you don't fight against flesh and blood, but principles and principalities. So all that, those Bible verses that we studied as kids come to life because it's been going on. That's where they got it from. Whether some of it's mistranslated or not, or whether it comes from the Hosea, or whether it comes from the Vedas, that they got it and they made this Bible up. Okay, like I said, I'm not debating on that, but you have to open your mind. If you want to be authentic, you got to get to the authentic material. Okay, so it's been a trip. Like I said, sometimes I pause and I stop and I lose traction when I'm doing these discussions. I don't that much anymore, thank God. But I tell you, because the person's so jealous because I was talking about them, and that's what I said. It's like, I'm going to out you every time you come into my energy field as the pedophile that you are. And this person is a pedophile. Right? But her delusions and thinking I can shut you up, or it doesn't matter. I'm never going to get caught because why? I'm a part of an organization. But I remember on TikTok, she did something. She attacked me and tried to confuse my mind. And I started to feel sick and nauseous. And I stopped the live and I decreed, I said, as I decree, so shall it be, you and your whole entire bloodline and the network of gang members and gang stalkers that you're a part of will be taken down. Okay, so she knows that that's true. That's the reason why they try and get your crown to, get your crown not to vibrate, not to, because that's where all your downloads come from, right? That's a whole big world, right? So the reason why they do that is so that you don't have any defense against them. But when you have a spiritual practice anyway, all that you built up into the heavens is just waiting to materialize. It's kind of like a vending machine. They're waiting for, oh, okay, oops, they blocked that crown chakra. So, hey, let's send this down now, right? Protocol angel number 5, let's get it, So know that you're not without. I felt the resistance for the last 2 months. Like in February, something was changing. I could energetically feel a shift, right? But there's been a lot of resistance. And I don't really think, one thing that I've had to really, admit to myself is like, sometimes we can become too focused on the cluster B that we just left, or that's been, traumatizing us, not real, and leave out the fact that no, this is all of them. It's not the flesh, it's the demon. You feel me? It's not the flesh, it's the demon that's doing it. Like, one thing that I've realized, because since I've been here, is that and just what I'm seeing around me is that the trying to cause you to be agitated, trying to cause you to have an interaction with them. I have had people purposely walk up to me to try and touch a part of me. And when I step out of the way, they get really offended. No joke. Like the people just got off the train and I guess there was some kind of event and it was really packed. And I noticed that everybody, and even when it wasn't packed, there was somebody that got off the train and immediately they veered over to my inner. So you see that magnetism, not because we're soulmates or I knew them in another life or anything. It's just, I want that energy and you got it. Whether they're conscious of being possessed or not, I can tell. And anytime somebody says that, I snap them out of it. Maybe, and not always in the most polite way, because it's irritating, right? Nothing is being hidden now. And that's it. People's like, oh yeah, nothing's going to be hidden. The truth's going to be told. Well, can you handle the truth? As Jack Nicholson said to Tom Cruise, you can't handle the truth. Right? You got to be able to handle it. So if you want to start working on the 4 steps, if you want to get some stuff off your chest, tune in to my Fiverr. You can go to the link in the description for my profile and book a sign up for one of the ones that you're, you know, you want to work on, whether it be goals, whether it be one step at a time, given a package, right? Um, doing the program or whatever it is that you're interested in, because the program's up there too for individuals just to do it, right? But hopefully I'll get some time. My plan is to get up out of here, so hopefully when I get the time, it'll be a better launch. But hopefully this toxic tether or tractor beam, the second part of this, is it really gets to you. But yeah, think of the movie Get Out, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying, I mean, even with heterosexual relationships, you got, and lesbian relationships, same-sex relationships, it's still the same thing, right? It's a narcissist is a narcissist. They're always going to be working from the same template. Okay, loves. Hopefully this helped. I'm sorry, because I got to clear this out. Got to clear this negative demonic energy out, and it just started coming back in hard and heavy. So anyway, huns, thank you so much for showing up. Hopefully I can do another podcast maybe tomorrow or this week or something like that. But if not, please, please, please remember, your blessings are in your ashes. Rise.